It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across the USA, he is Eric Harley and I'm Gary McNamara. Well, you know, the Trump rally in Nevada last night?
Yeah.
He did bring up the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits. Now, we've talked about those in the past. And by the way, I have no self-interest in this whatsoever. This is purely an economic and legal statement. Probably the hardest thing would be the tax on tips and the tax on overtime because of how we tax income.
Right.
And there would be a problem with the 14th Amendment if you decide to tax people with different levels of income. It's tough. It'd be very tough not to call overtime income.
Right.
And it's very tough not to call tips income. I'm assuming the courts have already, there's precedent on it where they would be. So that would be the tough one to get through. You'd have to somehow rewrite tax law. But remember, and we had talked about this, believe it or not, during the whole gay marriage argument debate in this country, saying that the 14th Amendment went from the equal protection under the law to equal benefits under the law.
Right.
Or was it equal
treatment?
Equal treatment under the law. Yeah, from equal protection law to equal treatment under the law. And we said by that case, then everybody should pay the exact same amount in taxes. Because under the 14th Amendment, you have those different levels, but as long as you're at a particular level of income, at that point, you all pay the same in taxes.
Right.
And so that would be the problem if that system is set up, and it's been set up for a while, and the precedent is pretty long on that. If you say, nope, we're going to exempt these people with this because they make their income this way, and these people make their income this way, I don't know. Again, it hasn't been tried, but I think that's where you'd have the problem. Now, I don't think there'd be any problem, and I am fully supportive. In fact, the crowd, according to Trump, cheered the most for no tax on Social Security, no taxes on Social Security like it used to be. I am fully in favor of that, and I think if they do that, it should be the first thing that he should do. And why not start in the new fiscal year, put it into effect next October 1st?
When I was younger, I was for taxing Social Security. I have evolved as I have grown older. I no longer, in fact, as the older I get, the stronger I am against taxing Social Security.
You did understand my timeline on that, right? My timeline
I did.
On October 1st?
Yeah, mine isn't. I have a more patient timeline. Because I think these kind of things do take time. I understand. Politically building the consensus.
No, you're wrong.
And building the consensus, it might take roughly 6 years and 3 months. And no longer than 6 years and 3 months.
No, it must be.
I will be fully outraged.
It must be October 1st of next year. That's the easiest one to pass legally because it used to be that way. And by the way, just so people know, I will start collecting Social Security next October. Well, a couple of days before October 1st.
Right.
It's when I'll actually start collecting.
I'll say this.
Eric, Eric is what, 6 years and how long? 3 months?
Well, actually, for me, likely my collection would be 10 years, 11 years and 3 months.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
If I wait till 70.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, which is when, because as you get older, you get wiser about these things. And I think I will be fully educated on this issue by that time. And it also, again, building the consensus is going to take time.
But I can give you
got to work with it.
But I can give you a quick education so you will understand that we need to stop taxes on Social Security next October 1st.
Well,
when I collect.
I don't care about that education because my bank account isn't linked to that education. What do I care about it if there's no money for me involved?
Anybody have the idea that Eric and I are talking about things that are in favor of our own self-interest?
Exactly. I want to keep my own money. But you know,
to hell with you people collecting tips or working overtime. None of those apply to me. Only Social Security does.
In fact, I think if you're below the age of 50 and you earn tips as a significant portion of your income, you should pay more. And that money would go to fund Social Security.
You're right, exactly. I think young people that's a great line. I like that one. That's even
Raise
better.
The FICA tax.
That's even better. People making tips or working overtime should pay extra FICA tax for my Social Security.
A lot extra.
I like this narrative.
Yeah. And
doing a show and it's only about me.
Exactly.
Only about me and myself.
Now, the significant portion of our audience that is the service industry, that many of them are just getting home or just getting in their car after closing up. This isn't about you. Quit making it about you. This is about us.
Exactly. No, but seriously, on the legal part of it, I think there's still legal problems with the tips and overtime. Just on how we, the Constitution allows people of different income levels to be taxed at different rates. But once you reach that level, everybody is taxed at that particular rate. Well, I don't know how legally, and I'm being serious here. This is a serious thing because they're going to do what they're going to do, and I don't believe they're going to take the tax off Social Security. I don't think, because there's too much revenue there. I don't know if they're going to do it for. I don't think they'll do it for. Well, they may do it, but it's going to be a lawsuit on it. I don't know what the legalities are of that, but I'm just telling you what they may face, with trying to take it from. And we have always talked about the fact of the unfairness that somebody who does work overtime, therefore, they're working overtime in order to gain more income and then hopefully have more money. So the odds are they'll be less of a burden on government in the future. So why are they paying more in taxes? We've always talked about what's the justification for somebody who's actually working, because other people decide to have different life choices. They decide to go out I'm only going to work one job. I'm going to use my credit card. I'll pay my credit card monthly, but I'm going to enjoy life. And we know that's the case because you and I talked about, 15 years ago when the big thing was? Remember those guys wrote the book?
Yeah.
Don't live to work, work to live. Yeah. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, we know, we've gotten calls where people said, I'm not going to work overtime. It should never be that way. Other people say, I'm going to work as much as I possibly can so I can acquire wealth. And if I acquire wealth, then I get to decide what I do. Well, those people have less of a chance of ever being a burden on the government. Why are they paying more in taxes for making a life choice that is different than yours, that is beyond the normal 40 hours a week?
Right.
And so, no, there definitely is. When we get out of our self-interest bubble, there's the legitimate constitutional reasoning, but there's also, when you look at the reason of the narrative of tax fairness, especially when you're willing to work more than the average person. And the Social Security, the reason I've said that's probably an easier one to get through is because before 82 or 83, you didn't pay taxes on Social Security. A lot of people don't know that. They go, what? Really? Yeah, you didn't pay taxes on Social Security before that. And since it's something that, you have to put in, and it's for a, partial funding of your retirement, well, and it's already been done, legally there's no problem, but morally, a lot of people, you look at the state of Texas, for example, the state of Texas that's looked at property taxes, and everybody last year got a property tax reduction. And now that, I'm over 65, every single year, I get what's that called? Contraction.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it was only $100 this year.
Right.
But last year, because of both of them, my property taxes went down $2,000.
Well, there were three things. There was I think a one-time. I don't believe it's permanent. I don't think it goes beyond the 1 year. But there was I'm almost positive it was one time. The one-time benefit for everyone, which cut property taxes. Again, just one time, and then there was the contraction for those over 65.
Right, but the one time
freezing.
But the one time is permanent, right?
No, one time means only for that tax year. It was. Well,
then I never got that.
Yeah, I'll go back and look
because my taxes went
maybe it doesn't apply if you already have other exemptions. I don't know.
Yeah, because I got my tax bill in this year. I know what it is already, and it's $100 lower than last year, which is the contraction part of it. When you're over 65 every year.
Last year was the one time, not this, not what you would see reflected on this.
No, but
statement.
Your taxes may still go up.
Mm-hmm. Well, because the principal value of the home.
Right, because the principal value of it, but they didn't rescind it. It's not like you got $2,000 last year and then you're back paying $2,000 more this year.
Right.
Right. Okay, I just want to make sure that we were okay. You're just saying they cut it once and it could still go up with the valuation of your house.
Oh no, it's always it's
right. Yeah.
If your value's going up, then it's not frozen at a dollar amount.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Right, which means you can pay more. I thought you were saying if for example, if everybody got $1,000 or whatever the percentage of $1,000, that $1,000 was back that you had to pay this year, and that's not the
no.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Oh, but the fact is there was there was that sense of that people on fixed incomes that are retired shouldn't lose their homes.
Mm-hmm.
There was a moral statement that was made on that. And by the way, if you're in Texas, both Democrats and Republicans are running on that. We gave you the biggest property tax, cut in the history of the world.
In fact, I think they're on the way to doing more in that area. I think they're actually going to move further in that direction.
I tell people, I said, I've lived a long time in every state.
Mm-hmm.
I've never, ever got a tax reduction, ever.
Mm-hmm.
And when I looked at that, $2,000 off my property tax, and then the contraction every year when my property taxes really aren't going to go up, because they still could go up on the city level,
right?
But it's a county level that they won't. I get that contraction each and every year. You don't see that anywhere in the United States.
No,
you just don't see that. It's such a rare thing. And the interesting thing is when you look at the state of Texas, do people who are Democrats in the state of Texas recognize that? And did it have an impact on them? I know it had a huge impact on me, money-wise, of course, but even just covering politics for such a long time, the impact was this doesn't happen.
Well, and part of it was because the argument for getting rid of the property tax altogether was how are we going to pay for schools, right?
Right.
Well, then the response was, yeah, but you know what? If you're 65, then you've paid your share throughout those years. On the average, you've paid for those schools, your schools, basically, in your area. You paid that tax. And so that's where that freeze should come in, and now the contraction. That's the idea. Well, they've been paying in. And now they're on a fixed income, most. and they've paid throughout their younger years,
right,
for those schools and everything else, and this is fair to everybody. And it was a bipartisan thing. I mean, Republicans are in power, but and they're the ones who, and I think they want to go even further. In fact, Republicans floated earlier this year the idea, and it was just, again, do you think it was just taking a poll during the Republican primary? Do you think we should get rid of taxes? How many people are for it or against it? Again, it wasn't binding, but I said, yes, we should get rid of property taxes. Now, the devil's in the details. How do you get that done, and will they get that done? I have my doubts.
866-90 Red Eye.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by House Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
La Nina development over the winter months remains highly probable. USDA meteorologist Brad Rippey says the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's winter climatic outlook for 2024-25 indicates
we are still expecting about a 3/4 chance of La Nina development within the next month or two.
The influence on winter weather patterns possibly includes primary wet conditions in the nation's northern tier and drier than normal conditions across the southern stretch of the country.
In terms of temperature patterns during this expected La Nina winter, generally warm conditions will accompany those drier than normal weather conditions across the southern United States. Some of that warmth should extend into the eastern U.S. as well. And then with occasional incursions of cold air, that could drive winter temperatures to below normal values across parts of the north, especially from the Pacific Northwest into the northern plains and far upper Midwest.
I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Well, the Trump campaign made an ad out of Obama.
Yeah.
You ready?
All right.
All right. Here we go.
Yeah.
Too many folks here in Georgia and across the country are struggling to pay the bills. We all know the price of everything from housing to health care to groceries is still too high, and it hurts.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Yeah. You're right. It is too high.
Did you notice Obama's ego now jumping in there?
Yeah.
Trump said he did it. I did that. Trump said he did it. I did that. I'm thinking when I listen to him, I'm like, you're not running. She is.
That's right.
Focus on her.
Right. He's busy being a surrogate for himself.
And Clinton.
Oh, my gosh.
I think that Carrie Lake is really attractive, I got to tell you.
And Gallego, his opponent, is incredibly hot, but she's wrong. It was so weird that because he said physically attractive is the words he used.
Yes.
He wanted to use incredibly hot. She's physically attractive, and whoa, old Bill. Oh, the old. No, you can't bring the old Bill into this.
Physically,
he can't stop being Bill.
Physically means hot bod.
I have a question for Carrie Lake. I just have one question. That question is, how you doing? Huh? How you doing?
All right, Joey from Friends.
That's my only question for her.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio. from the Uniden America Studios.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Thank you for being here. And a couple of audio cuts. This one, I'm sorry, but I wish everybody could see the video of it. It's Bill Melugin, who works for Fox and been doing border stuff for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked Trump, or he tells Trump that Kamala says during the CNN town hall that they did the right thing on the border. She said that? It's like the look on his face is almost as if he thinks he's being trolled by Melugin, like it's really not happening. Yeah, right. That really isn't the truth. He's trying to get a reaction out of him. Right. And it's hilarious. Here's part of it. Here we go.
She said during that town hall she believes they've handled the border correctly. CNN pressed her on it. Would you have done anything different? Do you regret anything? And she said, quote, I think we did the right thing.
Wait a minute, that she's handled it correctly?
Correct.
She said that?
She said that. She said, quote, I think we did the right thing.
We allowed 21 million people in. We allowed 13,099 murderers. We allowed mental institutions from all over the world. If she said that, look, she's a grossly incompetent person. And if she said that, they had the worst border in history.
The look on his face when he said, she said that?
She said
and
that?
twice he had the look on his face like, am I being played here? Or are you really?
Yeah, I was expecting him to say, you mean she said it out loud? Where people could hear it? Yeah.
And someone put this together on X, and it's great. The top six CNN reactions to the Harris town hall.
Mm.
When she doesn't want to answer a question, her habit is to kind of go to word salad city, and she did that on a couple of answers. One was on Israel. Anderson asked a direct question, would you be stronger on Israel than Trump? And there was a 7-minute answer, but none of it related to the question he was asking.
She doesn't have to be flawless, but she has to give you something. I mean, she's like a true double threat. You know, she's terrible on her feet when she gets unexpected questions, and simultaneously, she can't even answer the expected questions. It's nothing, nothing, nothing. You'd think she'd be prepared to do this by now. You know, what's a mistake you've made? Nothing. What's a weakness you have? Nothing. What's the first law you want to pass? Nothing. What's a policy difference between you and Joe Biden? Nothing. Over and over and over. Empty, empty, empty. If she were an animal, she'd be a duck-billed platitude. But look, it's a total
focused a lot more on Donald Trump, I think it's fair to say, than she did on many specifics in terms of what she would do as president. But she did go into some of her plans for small businesses.
Well, I'll just tell you what I'm hearing from people who I have been talking to, and that is that if her goal was to close the deal, they're not sure she did that. And, you know, some people have asked, is she being held to a different standard? Maybe, but that's maybe the world that she's living in. And on the question of who she is, people are understanding that a little bit more. But what she will do, the question about her legislative priorities, name one, there wasn't one.
I think that the word salad stuff gets on my nerves. I think that some of the evasions are not necessary. But when she's talking about trying to get you a house, I believe her.
Mm-hmm. Kamala Harris participated in a one-person debate last night, and she lost. Okay, she was asked direct questions, and she provided very circular answers. My colleagues Van Jones and David Axelrod and others noted that, you know, she provided word salad answers. And, you know, Anderson would ask her specifically direct questions, and she didn't provide an answer to them. Anderson asked the best question all night. Why didn't you do this 4 years ago? Why haven't you been doing this? 10-minute answer, didn't answer the question. So what she did last night, I don't think helped her cause at all. I think people were looking for, you know, how are you going to, you heard the one woman, how are you going to make my life better? That wasn't provided. Donald Trump bad is not going to get you to the White House. I hate.
That's the CNN reaction.
Yeah.
That's not Fox News commenting on the CNN town hall.
I mean, there are so many audio cuts on it. This is Frank Luntz analyzing it and saying what she has to do.
It's not an issue. This is a great question. It's what she's going to do in the first hour, the first day, the first week, the first month, and the first year. Not what her objectives are, not even her priorities, But which legislation is she going to push first? Which ideas, which platforms, elements she's going to ensure gets discussed in the first week?
And what do you think they should be?
It's all about immigration and it's all about affordability, and nothing else matters except for those two issues among the voters who are still waiting to make up their minds. I call them persuadables. It's only 4% of the electorate, but they can still be used and moved in these swing states. And it's up to her to be explicit about what she will do from the moment she is sworn in.
Well, problem is, she can't do that.
She can't.
Because she wishes to do what the Biden administration has been doing.
Look, aside from Scott Jennings, who I think has done a really great job as somebody on the right that's at CNN, kind of setting the record straight. You hear all these liberals on these panels and doing this analysis, doing, again, their wishful thinking, kind of their delusional thinking. Well, what she should be doing, she's not capable of doing it. 10, 12 days out, all of a sudden, magically, Harry Potter's going to arrive, wave his wand, and she's a very different type of candidate. She's not capable.
The New York Times poll is out, the national poll. Has Trump 48, Harris 48. The last poll a couple of days ago, Harris was up +3. You and I we just took a look at the Real Clear Politics, and you could see all the you see red, blue, red, blue.
Yep.
The vast majority are red, whether it's a state or whatever, and even the ones that are blue, as the New York Times poll was the other day, is now tied 48-48. So clearly the momentum is still heading in. I don't know what she can do to save herself. Here we are, Friday. You have a week.
You got 1 week left.
You got a week.
Essentially, of campaigning to the point of convincing any minds, changing any hearts and minds. That's what you have to do. It's not going to happen because there's nothing that's, again, magically going to change about her.
And you have Trump going on with Joe Rogan. I think are they taping it today, or is it coming out today? Did they tape it already?
I don't know if it. Sometimes I would think on something like this, it may come out same day, but I don't know that.
And as we have said, if you look at his audience, which can be over 15 million.
Mm-hmm.
Now that may be over a period of a month listening to it, but if you can get 10 to 15 million, again, young men, and it's Trump on it, and the Harris campaign said, we're not going to go on Joe Rogan because her schedule's too busy. We know that's not the truth. We know the problem. We knew all the time she was never going to go on Joe Rogan.
By the way, I said that on the air the other day. They'll
did.
probably come up with some excuse of, the vice president's schedule is too heavy and blah, blah, blah.
She cannot do a multi-hour interview, and Rogan's show sometimes goes 3 hours.
Yep.
And there's
nowhere to go. There's
nowhere.
When you're there and you're in front of Rogan, he's not going to give you much room. Look, he's given some candidates room in the past, Bernie Sanders, namely. But there's been a change even since he supported Rogan supported Bernie Sanders. There's been a huge shift in what's going on politically right now. And she can't do any short interview, just a few minutes, and she gets lost. She's never going to be able to do a long-form sit-down. It's a marathon of a sit-down.
And I think one of the most interesting audio that we played earlier on the show today, and it's worth playing multiple times, is the whole Hitler thing, because that's what's come out the last couple of days. Now, we had one of our listeners say, you guys are ignoring it because we keep saying that, Trump wins the day. And as I explained to him and we explained on yesterday's show, it doesn't matter whether the left is criticizing. You win the day if the opposition candidate is on the defensive from both sides. And we've been clear on what our standards are for how we rate who has won the day. And Trump has won every day for the longest time because you don't have both sides on his case. As you've seen here, we just played, if you just woke up, we've only played a little bit of the number of Democrats that have just pounded on Harris, over everything that's gone on. And even though you have Democrats maybe doing the Hitler stuff, you have other Democrats out there like I forgot his name, former ABC political director.
Halprin,
Mark Halprin. I don't know why I can't remember his name. I know him, and I can't remember his name. This focus group here of Pennsylvania undecided voters. Now, he has been the one really over the last couple of weeks that has got he's probably getting pounded. The hate mail, and he's probably getting from Democrats because he about a couple of weeks ago said, this isn't going her way. And he's continued to do that. Well, now he's talking to 9 undecided Pennsylvania voters and asking them about specifically the Hitler comments and whether they're affecting, which direction they're going to vote in.
I can't. I think part of the reason why I'm being pushed towards Trump so strongly is that I find that the Democrats and the left just keep going straight to Hitler all of the time with everything. And if it's not the left pushing Hitler, it's the right pushing Stalin. So it's like we're fighting World War II every single day for every single election. So it's so exhausting. I think it just detracts from, it pushes me away from their position, and it's so hyperbolic that it makes it impossible to have good discussions. And I think it ruins the discourse.
Does anybody think it's valuable or something you want to hear from the vice president? Anybody? Raise your hand if you think this is something that's important for her to be talking about. Anybody?
Nobody.
Yeah.
Now, one of the 9 undecided from Mark Halprin's focus group.
Not one.
And so, it looks like, I don't think she can pivot and start talking issues now.
Well, no, there's
nobody.
You would have to change the individual completely, and that's not who she is.
And you see that the media is jumping on board. We played, she was almost crying, Mika from Morning Joe. Mm-hmm. They're all jumping on the Hitler. How could you possibly vote for somebody for Hitler? The never Trumpers are out there. Hitler. If Hitler isn't important enough, what is important to you? How come you're going to vote for somebody who's a Hitler? And I think that's where you're at. He is going to, as I forgot who explained it on CNN the other day, or yesterday, said, well, here's easily what's going to happen. Trump's going to talk about what she did, what he did, what she did, and now how he's going to fix it. And she's going to say bad Trump.
Yeah. He's Hitler.
Yeah. Trump bad.
By the way, it's an indication that they are getting word of the internals. They're seeing the polls, but they're also getting word on the internals. I know Mika has too many friends on the inside.
Oh, the anger.
And the anger that you hear in her voice, you can see it collectively. The liberal activist media is now in the mode of, we can't believe you guys are about to do this. Because they know that's where it's going. I'm convinced they're getting word on the internals. Someone like Mika, again, I know she has someone who's giving her information on what the internals
you heard
are
Trump at the rally last night.
Yeah,
I'm not supposed to say it.
Yeah.
But we're doing really, really good.
Yes.
866, I just love it. We're not supposed to say it.
Not supposed to say it.
866-90 Red Eye.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. All right, I'm just going to read this quote from Mark Halprin also yesterday. Remember, he's a loyal Democrat, always has been. Kamala Harris's performance last night was the last straw for a lot of Democrats, said Mark Halprin about the CNN town hall where the vice president failed to directly answer friendly questions she'd been asked multiple times before. Quote, there's no more. The more she does it, the better she'll get. Or, excuse me, there's no more. The more she does it, the better she'll get. Her performance last night is considered in Democrat circles to be a disaster.
Saying exactly what I've been saying, what we've been saying is you're not going to, there's no way to coach this because you have to have the conviction, and she doesn't have any conviction. And the things she does believe, you can't promote politically. The things you actually want to do, it's not viable to promote them politically, and nothing is going to change.
Nope.
And now you see the collective left, including people that observe, like Halprin and others, that have really come to the conclusion that they've got buyer's remorse on Kamala Harris.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.